The Stormblade class in Blue Protocol Star Resonance is a physical DPS that provides an interesting mix between your classic katana-wielding class and a scythe-wielding class of all things. Depending on your preference, the class's specializations will be able to help you lean into whichever class fantasy you prefer. And to help, today I'll be walking you through the skills the class offers as a whole, what skills each specialization wants, the gear substats to aim for, what E-Magions would be beneficial, and lastly, an example rotation for you to try out. To begin, let's take a look at the base skills and systems the Stormblade has to offer. The Stormblade starts off with two class systems to keep track of: Thunder Sigils and Blade Intent. For this class, you'll passively build up 2 Blade Intent per second, while you'll need to cast specific skills to build up Thunder Sigils. As such, even though it looks flashy, because it is, the Stormblade systems are pretty neatly divided into builder and spender skills. Your left mouse button attack, Judgment Cut, only passively builds Blade Intent. However, there's an important talent in the base Stormblade tree that allows this attack to help with the building of Thunder Sigils. Moving on to your base special skill, Iaido Slash. It functions as a spender of both Blade Intent and Thunder Sigils. Its damage is increased depending on how many Thunder Sigils are consumed, and at max Blade Intent, the attack comes out significantly faster. Or Ultimate Oblivion Combo functions as a Thunder Sigil builder. It hits in a big burst of AoE damage and fully refunds all Thunder Sigils. It's also important to note that later on in both specialization trees, the damage scales with how many Thunder Sigil stacks were recently consumed, meaning you'd want to ideally cast this later in a rotation. Moving on to your expertise skills, you have Overdrive. This is your main way to build Thunder Sigils. It has 5 stacks, and each cast builds 1 Thunder Sigil. However, the aforementioned talent can allow Overdrive to occasionally grant 3 Thunder Sigil stacks instead of 1. You'll know that the left mouse button attack has procced its ability when the Overdrive skill lights up. Next we have Flash Strike, which functions as the first priority for Thunder Sigil spenders. You dash forward through the enemy, increasing the damage by 25% for each Thunder Sigil consumed. It's pretty straightforward, no pun intended. Next we have Raijin Dash, which is the second priority for Thunder Sigil spenders. This attacks in a large AoE that also increases the damage by 25% per Thunder Sigil consumed. However, this skill also functions as an invincibility frame while it's being cast. Next up we have Scythe Wheel, which attacks in an AoE, reduces the enemy's ability to heal, and summons a Scythe or Moonblade that continuously attacks enemies that it touches. For the next skill we have Thunder Cut. It's actually the main Blade Intent spender. It costs 50 Blade Intent to cast, and it can be recast immediately as long as there is more Blade Intent to consume. For our first buff we have Volt Surge. It increases your attack and allows Overdrive to max out your Thunder Sigils with each stack. This in turn allows you to chain spender skills while consuming maximum Thunder Sigils. For our last skill we have the buff Storm Flash. It increases your attack and allows you to generate 20 Blade Intent every second. Consuming Blade Intent during this buff window also triggers an extra Lightning Strike attack. Now that we know the Stormblade skills, let's take a look at the specializations. First up, we have the Iaido Spec. It's a burst damage dealer that focuses on quickly building up and consuming Thunder Sigils to maximize its damage. The substats that you'll want to aim for are Crit and Mastery with some Haste if there's room. The rotation itself is deceptively simple. You'll want to proc any Imagine buffs that you have, proc Volt Surge, then alternate between using Overdrive to build max Thunder Sigils and a Spender skill to consume all of them. The priority should be Flash Strike, then Raijin Dash, and then Iaido Slash until either expertise skill is off cooldown. Once your burst window is down, you'll be using your left mouse button attack to proc the enhanced Overdrive to build up max Thunder Sigil stacks, and then consuming them with the Spender skill. And moving on to the Moonstrike Spec. This spec is a consistent damage, mastery haste focus spec that turns your katana into the much cooler and less effective Scythe. Your Iaido Slash core skill also gets replaced by the Moonstrike core skill. And lastly, the focus of your class resource also shifts from Thunder Sigils to Blade Intent. This new Moonstrike core skill costs 3 Thunder Sigils and generates 30 Blade Intent. Casting it dashes you forward with an AoE slash, and it also causes any Moonblade summoned by the Scythe Wheel skill to release an AoE Whirlwind attack. As such, your rotation will be to first cast Scythe Wheel on cooldown to upkeep Moonblades, and from there, you'll use your left mouse button attack and Overdrive to build Thunder Sigil stacks to cast Moonstrike in order to build up max Blade Intent. Once you reach max Blade Intent through the Moonstrikes and the Storm Flash buff, you'll spend it on Thunder Cut spam, and from there, you'll rinse and repeat. The rotation during the early levels will feel awkward as a lot of the power of the Moonstrike Spec is locked behind some later talents. That about wraps it up here today for this quick run through of the Stormblade class. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe to keep up with the next guides, let me know in the comments which class you'd like to see next, and most importantly, have a blessed day.